Hello, good evening. The news for the West. It now looks certain that Swindon Town manager Glenn Hoddle is leaving the club just days after seeing his team promoted to the Premier League. The club has called an urgent press conference for tomorrow morning, and it's rumoured they will confirm Hoddle is no longer working for the club.
Swindon Town has given no details about the nature of tomorrow's conference, but it's due to take place just half an hour before a similar meeting at Chelsea, the London club rumoured to be chasing Hoddle as manager. Hoddle has been with Swindon for 2.5 years and has pulled them from relegation danger to the very top. Supporters and players alike believe Monday's victory against Leicester, bringing promotion to the Premier League, would not have been possible without him. After his years of service to Tottenham, Monaco and England, making goals and finishing them off too, his form this year has been a revelation. In the past few days, Swindon supporters have been begging him to stay, convinced that Hoddle's leadership and tactical qualities are what the club needs for the Premier League. Tonight's news of his departure will come as a bitter blow. Annabelle Roberts, HTV.
1990, that's how one Swindon Town fan described how he felt about Glenn Hoddle's move to Chelsea today. But the Wiltshire club have acted quickly and John Gorman, Hoddle's assistant, has taken over at the county ground. Hoddle's departure, just days after leading Swindon into the top flight, has angered club directors. They're now seeking compensation. Today in London, Chelsea paraded their new boss.
At famous Stamford Bridge, Fleet Street's finest were giving Chelsea's new manager the full treatment. But what were the factors Glenn Hoddle weighed up before deciding to leave Swindon?
Basically, Roger, it was an individual thing. It was something that I've always gone by, my gut feeling. It took me to Swindon from Chelsea, ironically, and it was a feeling, you know, that it was time to perhaps move on in my career. What we've achieved there, you know, is a minor miracle, really.
Meanwhile, at Swindon's press conference to promote John Gorman from assistant to manager, their chairman was saying that Swindon will be demanding compensation for Hoddle, both as manager and highly skillful player.
We look around and see all sorts of figures for players being transferred nowadays, and when I see £800,000 to £900,000 quoted for what I would consider, and I'm sure what the board would consider to be reasonably mediocre players, then Glenn Hoddle's got to be worth more than £1 million.
Chelsea, though not publicly talking figures, do not dispute their obligation to compensate.
I believe there is a clause of compensation in Glenn's contract with Swindon, and I have assured Mr. Hardman that we will honour any obligations that there may be there.
And Hoddle faced the question that some Swindon fans are claiming he's deserted their club with the year of his contract still left.
I've walked out from Swindon with my head held high on the achievements that I've done. It was a very sad and emotional decision to make, but it's one that I feel that I've had to make for myself.
Moving to Chelsea for Glenn Hoddle, I believe, is stage 2 in a 3-stage managerial career he's mapped out for himself. Stage 1 was taking Swindon up. Stage 2 will be getting success here at a big and famous club. Stage 3, the England manager's job in a few years' time. Roger Malone for HTV, Stamford Bridge.
But Hoddle's widely predicted move has soured what's been a triumphant season for the Wiltshire club. Fans feel let down by the man who steered them right into the big time. They're concerned too about next season and how much money will be available to build a stronger squad to take on the likes of Manchester United and Liverpool. Well, today, Swindon directors tried to hide their disappointment as they announced that John Gorman is their new boss.
At Swindon Town's earlier press conference, confirmation from the chairman of the inevitable that Hoddle had left the club just 4 days after taking them into the Premier League. The new man at the helm, John Gorman.
The whole club are extremely sorry to see Glenn go, but we have to go forward. And we all here are very delighted to announce that our new manager, Swindon Town Football Club, is John Gorman.
Hoddle's former deputy, John Gorman, won the board's unanimous and immediate backing to be his successor. But he admits he found it a hard choice whether to stay or go with his partner and close friend to Chelsea.
It was a very difficult decision. I mean, I was virtually walking out the door with Glenn, and because obviously our partnership we really felt it was something special and we wanted to continue it, and Glenn really wanted me to go with him, and but inside me I just didn't feel it was right. I didn't really want to go, and although I done it at the last possible second, which possibly hurt Glenn a little bit, I just felt that my job was here at Swindon Town.
Gorman arrived with Hoddle 2.5 years ago. To many, it was a dream team that should never be broken up.
What more's the club got to do, really, to get some good luck round here? Just can't believe it.
Feel let down, yes. Last time we let down. We're let down again this time. And Ken Bates, well, if you're listening, Ken, you put us down in the first place. You can't do it this time.
Overall, I think we've just got to look forward to Premier League next year. We're still going to get Man United down and Liverpool. And let's hope Chelsea's our first game with Stafford.
The name on the door may have changed, but the style of football won't. And the popular Scot has been assured by the board he will be given money to strengthen his squad in an attempt to show Hoddle he was wrong to leave. Angus Scott, HTV News, Swindon.
It's been the most historic week in the club's history, as well as one of the most dramatic. Despite the massive speculation about Glenn Hoddle's future, he only told the chairman he was leaving late yesterday afternoon. And within minutes, John Gorman, who was due to join Hoddle at Chelsea, was offered the Swindon job.
3 cheers for John! Hip hip!
If Hoddle had to go, there was no doubt among the fans at the county ground today who was the best man to replace him.
Very good choice for the town, the supporters and the players themselves, yes.
Gorman was confirmed in the Post this morning. Only yesterday afternoon he had said his goodbyes at the county ground and was due to join Hoddle at Chelsea. But the temptation to manage a Premier League club for himself proved too great.
I was almost out the door. I was actually virtually on my way out when again the chairman had a hold of me, put everything to me, and I just felt that my heart wasn't to go. It was just, I feel there's a job to be done here and I think I'm the man to do it.
Half an hour after Gorman's appointment, Glenn Hoddle took centre stage at Stamford Bridge. It had been predicted for weeks that Hoddle was going to Chelsea, and despite having dismissed the rumours as pure speculation, today he confirmed he would be taking over.
At the end of the day, I'm very pleased that I've made it. Very proud of what I've done at Swindon, but I felt for some time that it's time for me to move on. And that was really the main decision.
Some feel Hoddle could have bided his time, waiting for one of football's richest pickings. But both he and Gorman will now be keen to see when their new clubs meet next season.
Well, the breaking of the Hoddle-Gorman partnership, which brought such success to Swindon, has surprised everyone who knew them. Hoddle will have his problems at Chelsea. But the crucial question for Swindon is, will Gorman, the accomplished number 2, succeed as a manager in the Premier League?
If Glenn Hoddle was the flamboyant frontman, John Gorman was always there at his side. They worked together and celebrated Swindon's promotion together. Hoddle's individual skills had set him apart from other players.
Hoddle with a beautiful piece of skill. What a magnificent goal by Glenn Hoddle.
There's Hoddle. There's our dealers. There's Hoddle. Oh, smashing! Oh, that's a brilliant goal.
Hoddle. And Hoddle strikes one. Oh, a beautiful goal.
With Gorman at his side, they produced a team whose style of play was praised by the critics. But the ultimate goal was promotion. And thousands turned out to acclaim the team's 4-3 victory over Leicester City in the First Division playoffs at Wembley. Despite the pleas of Swindon supporters who turned out in their tens of thousands to celebrate the greatest day in the club's history, speculation intensified that Hoddle would soon be taking over at Chelsea. Prior to joining Swindon, he trained there for several months in an attempt to resurrect his playing career following a serious knee injury. Hoddle says it wasn't money that forced him to turn his back on what he described as his proudest achievement, but it's led to promotion as well for his former number 2. Graham Gardner, BBC News West, Swindon.
Well, the man who may have failed to prevent Glenn Hoddle's departure but did hold on to John Gorman is Swindon chairman Ray Hardman. Ray, how hard did you fight to keep Glenn at the club?
Oh, very hard indeed. It was hard work, but I didn't succeed.
How important is his loss?
I think it's very important, but what we have to say, of course, is that Glenn's gone now, and we have to look forward to the future in the Premier League next year.
Were Chelsea's dealings with Glenn Hoddle underhand in any way?
Well, as far as I know, I asked Glenn when he came to see me, and he said that he was leaving the club because he felt that he needed a change, and wanted to go elsewhere. And I did specifically ask him at that time if it was to Chelsea, and he said no, it wasn't. But of course, since that time, as we now know, Ken Bates contacted me, and we gave approval to Ken Bates, subject to certain conditions, to approach Glenn.
Do you feel cheated in any way that Glenn Hoddle has left when obviously you feel he still has a job to do?
Well, Glenn's decision to go was a decision that really only he could make, and we have to, I was going to say pick up the pieces, but we have to go on from there and talk about the future.
Obviously you have confidence in John Gorman. Will you be able to give him the money that he needs to strengthen his squad so he can compete in the Premier League?
I think so. I mean, we've been through the budget processes for next year, be it First Division or a Premier League, and those budgets have been in existence for 3 or 4 months now. So
but how much has he got to spend?
Well, I can't really tell you that, but there is a budget which allows money to be spent. There is also, of course, within that budget, a figure which says if you sell a player, we don't want any money from it. So whatever wheelings and dealings is done on the football front is not used to pay bills.
Ray, thanks very much indeed for joining us.